How dare an entire administration filled with incompetent workers, every last one of them in those appointed positions, incompetent. How dare they decide what is professional or what's not professional anymore? Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna need the Department of Education to find something else to do. Find another career or to mess with.
What's funny is I thought that I was about to go to school to be a nurse practitioner, but I don't think so at this point because they said nursing is no longer considered a professional degree. I'd like to see these people go to school for 2 years and get associates. I'd like them to go to school for 4 years and get a bachelor's. How about they go to school for 6 years and get a master's?
There is something extremely disturbing about all of the professions that have been stripped from professional degrees according to the new mandates, and nobody is talking about it, and it is extremely interesting that this has happened while we were all distracted by the Epstein file.
Orange Man, in his own words, has always confessed that he loves the poorly educated, and he expressed interest in dismantling the Department of Education, and that was a concern to a lot of people. This is all part of Project 2025. Now, in the move to dismantle the Department of Education, there's quite already a lot of changes that have been, made while people were distracted with the Epstein files and, quite a lot that has been going on, the shutdown and all of that, right? Right now, your hard-earned degree might fall under the category of the list of the degrees that Orange Man and his administration thinks it's not professional. If you are a nurse, if you are a social worker like me, psychologist, therapist, many more that we are going to look at in here, you're not professional anymore, and you're going to have to go under your own pockets to pay for that, because you're not going to get student loans for this. Now, a lot of people are saying that most of these degrees, the list of degrees that they are put under unprofessional degrees, are all female-dominated sectors. You cannot make these things up. Let's look at this first. We'll come back and talk about it. There's a list of all the degrees and the reactions from Americans, those that are already on this program studying. Those guys, let's watch. I'll be back with more.
So these lists of degrees of education that you see on the side here are no longer going to be considered professional degrees. What does that mean? That means that right now, the Department of Education, them people, decided that if you want to go to school for these degrees, then you're going to have to, you can still get money, but it's not going to be as much money, okay, that you need to get this type of degree. You would have to pretty much come out of pocket, okay? But all of these degrees currently on this side is not going to no longer be considered professional degrees sometime next year. I think they said June or July, somewhere in the summertime. And so, yeah, you would have to figure out what you're going to do. So basically what that tells me is that you don't want any doctors, you don't want any nurses, teachers, because who has the money to afford to pay for that out of pocket? That's the whole point of them getting the loans, to pay for those so that they can pay it back later. And then continue to make the world continue to go around as far as in doing those type of things.
The Department of Education has just dropped a list of degrees that now they deem to not be professional anymore. Patriots, this is crazy. Check in. Secret Service, Sam. I'm pissed because my wife is on this list. MSNs, DNPs, MSW, DSW, PAs, SLPs, speech and language pathology. My wife. EDS, LFT, EDF, PhD, ED, MAT, MS, and MAED. All these. Now, this is all Project 2025, Patriots. Stay woke. Oh, my MGs, I'm pissed. My wife's a speech pathologist. See? I can't even talk. She helps me talk. But now, if you can't afford college, you will not be able to get the loan. Because why? Because the Department of Education has listed your degree as not being a professional degree. Therefore, they don't have to help you pay for it. Who does this hit? Women, mostly. Also, black women. This hits them hard as well. This hits everybody. It's ridiculous. It's hitting our women. Why? Nursing, nurses, speech and language, therapy, all of it. None of those are professional titles anymore? Are you crazy? What are we doing here, Patriot? You're saying that my wife goes to work 5 days a week, helping special needs kids, doing the Lord's work, and that's not a professional degree anymore? They've ripped apart the Department of Education. We need to undo all of these terrible ideas and executive. Why do they not have to go to Congress to do this? It's ridiculous. Stop it right now. Teachers, stand up. Nurses, speech therapists, stand up. Secret Service Sam Out Samson for president of TikTok.
They done just declared war on nurses, women, black women, education, and we got to talk about it. A degree in nursing will no longer be considered a professional degree, but a graduate degree from the perspective of the federal government. Now, this is going to affect not only nursing, but other degrees. And what it's going to cause primarily is that you can only borrow $20,000 per year, and then there's a capped amount, whereas a professional degree, like somebody like a doctor, can borrow up to $50,000 a year. Now, what the government is saying is that this will force the prices of these nursing schools to come down to sort of meet what the federal government is giving out. But of course, you and I, we know that never really happens. Now, to me, when I saw it, it clearly looks like something that fits into the agenda of this current administration and what they're trying to do. They said that they were going to gut the Department of Education. And this has meant moving a lot of those different aspects of the Department of Education into other departments as they gut the Department of Education. But kind of, just to give you an analogy, it's kind of like Uno stacking. They don't do anything unless it's going to cause the maximum hurt, the maximum harm, the maximum pain. And so the first thing that this is going to do is it's going to demoralize a lot of people. So if you've gone to school for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years in attaining those degrees and becoming a professional, even though this classification doesn't mean that you're not a professional, just saying the word has an effect. When they say that you are no longer considered a professional from the standard of the federal government, just saying that has an effect. And so for all of you women out there who are not what they would call minorities, now you know how it feels to be called a minority, because a minority is really somebody who is under the age of 18, and they have put you in the position of a child by using a classification. Now, this is what these people do. They do all kinds of divide and conquer tactics. And so while it's not a hot war, it is a war of words. And once those programmed words get into your mind, they definitely have an effect. Now, any doctor who is quietly sitting around saying, yes, they took a stab at those nurses, and one doctor even admitted that he was jealous because doctors have to go through a little bit more to be doctors, and yet nurses are making the same kinds of salaries when they do the stacking of their particular certifications, okay? But the doctors are only going to have a little moment of ego stroke as people start to leave the nursing field, and people don't even get into the nursing field, and there's a shortage of nurses already. So as doctors have to do the brunt of the work and they start to make mistakes, and those mistakes start to mount up malpractice costs, even the doctors are going to suffer because of this situation. Now, again, going back to my analogy of Uno stacking, this is going to hurt the economy because foreigners who come here to get an education in nursing and see that as a track and a path forward, even if they go home or even if they stay here and contribute to our economy, they will no longer be able to do this. So by devaluing the educational system in America, you're essentially hurting the whole country, okay? Now, another thing it's going to do, it is going to bolster this perception of women as second-class citizens. Oh, you weren't able to become a doctor, and so you're just a nurse, when the truth is anything but. These people are consummate professionals who have to continue and continue and continue to get education, and that's why you can go to a nurse practitioner and you don't even have to go to a doctor, because they are just as educated and just as experienced as your medical doctors. So if you think any of this is happenstance or just chance or just people who are short-sighted, no. What I want you to know is that there is a plan to take this country down. And if you don't understand that these people have this as a plan, then, just wait till the next thing happens and you will further understand that this is the plan. This is a plot of some people who really don't have the same vision for America as you. Now, part of the plan is to have foreigners not want to come here. Part of the plan is to have some of the people jump ship. And so we as, and I'm just going to talk to the culture now, you know what I mean? What we have to understand is we've put a lot of our stock into education. We've put a lot of our stock into the political system. We've put a lot of our stock into the belief that, intellectualism would win the day. What we have to understand is that there is a spiritual war being fought. Okay. And so, again, that's why I don't care. I'll ride with Prophet Celestial to the end, because she's been calling this all along. And if you don't see that these steps, and God is trying to tell you that these steps are lining up to put you in a certain position, and that is to roll us back 100, 200, 300 years to where women were in the kitchen, to where black people had nothing. If you don't see that that is the plan, now I understand that you would think that it's so insane that somebody would think like this in a modern era where we're moving into a technological society, where we're moving into more diversity, where people are traveling all over the world and the world over and seeing what the world is. What you have to get is that everybody does not necessarily see the world in the way that you see it, or want a world that is in the way that you see it, okay? And people drive policy. So policies don't just get written by themselves. There are people who drive those policies forward. Now, ultimately, this is not going to work out for those people who will pay the very, 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 very expensive price of racism over paying the price of diversity and tolerance and getting along with their neighbor. Okay, it's not going to work out ultimately, but in the short term, which I'm saying is the next maybe 5 to 10 years, we're going to suffer a lot for wanting to live in the ghost of a dead reality. Okay, so whatever reality you thought existed, that existed 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that reality no longer exists. And you have to shake off this idea that there's anybody coming to save you, coming to change your condition other than yourself. Furthermore, my advice is that you have to put yourself in front of the line of everybody, period. Okay, do not champion oligarchs because they've got money, billionaires because they've got money, these people because they play the game. They play the game in a certain way that leaves you on the outside and slowly but surely sucks everything from you, okay? And so what we have to do is we have to align with people who have the same kind of mindset as us, and we have to shut the door on people who want another vision of a reality for themselves, okay? Separation. We got to separate. I'm not saying segregate, I'm saying separate. I'm saying get the heck away from people who only want to see you as a second-class citizen or worse. It is what it is. Y'all have a good day.
So the Department of Education put out their new list of what they deem as professional degrees, and surprise, surprise, they're all male-dominated fields. Let's all gasp and pretend to act shocked. I'm not shocked. This was all a part of the plan. Let me break it down for you. Engineering, law, architect, any field that is male-dominated is deemed professional. We got that. We grasped that. Okay, got it. In the fields that women actually run, social work, nursing, psychology, teaching, apparently is not professional. Not worthy of the perks, the prestige, and the recognition. Crazy thing is, I have opinions on this because it's not men, mainly men, teaching these kids or educating them in order to go up and get those degrees to do what it is that they're doing, right? Something's not adding up. So it's women teaching in order for the men to get the education, in order for them to get the degrees that are deemed male dominated. Okay. This isn't a mistake though. This is telling women you don't get the institutional validation that you're seeking, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Slowly trying to push us back into what they deem okay. Go be in the kitchen. Like, go make me a sandwich. Go take care of the children. It's classism. It's sexism. I can go on with the isms that it is, but you know, it's how they keep money and power and respect concentrated in male hands. And are we shocked?
What's funny is I thought that I was about to go to school to be a nurse practitioner, but I don't think so at this point because they said nursing is no longer considered a professional degree. I'd like to see these people go to school for 2 years and get associates. I'd like them to go to school for 4 years and get a bachelor's. How about they go to school for 6 years and get a master's? And see how professional that is. Just graduated school. I'm a new grad resident. I had a dream that I was going to be a nurse practitioner. I plan on going next year. But guess what? In 2026, they said that they're cutting the funding. Y'all not getting no more loans, baby. Well, y'all are, but guess what? Y'all only get $20,000 a year. The school I plan on attending is $60,000. To get a master's degree in nursing and science, to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner, $60,000. They're only going to give us $20,000 a year. Y'all do the math. The program's 2 years, $60,000. They're giving me $20,000 a year. That's $40K. Guess what? I got 20 grand I still got to come up with. That means I'm not going to school. Who's coming out of pocket $20,000 just to go to school? When I'm used to getting grants and loans and things of that nature. But now they said no. Figure it out. They don't want us to continue our education. They want us to stay exactly where we at. They want the women to be barefoot and pregnant because nursing is primarily dominated by women. They said, nah, y'all go ahead, get back in the kitchen, make me some food, and take care of my children. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to advance. They don't want you to make more money. They want to see where you at. Crabs in the buckets. But you know what? I ain't gonna worry about that. I'm gonna take my talents elsewhere. Y'all better work on y'all businesses. Y'all better get y'all LLC. Y'all better do what y'all need to do. Y'all need to get y'all social media following up. Y'all better collect the bag another way. Because I don't know if you're going to get this other degree. I would like to, but I don't know. They're playing with my top. But it's all right. I'll call you back. Bye.
I'm gonna need the Department of Education to like find something else to do. Find another career or to mess with. Leave us nurses alone, okay? I got an opinion about this. So if you guys don't know, I'm a nurse practitioner. I do possess my Doctor of Nursing Practice degree, DNP. And it's really unfortunate that the Department of Education is proposing the new definition of a professional degree program. Nursing is gonna be left out, but like medicine, dentistry, I think even chiropractors, pharmacy, law is gonna be included. So this means that if nursing is not included, certain advanced nursing programs will be left out when it comes to funding, like federal loans and student aid benefits. That means it's going to be affecting DNP programs, advanced practice nurse programs, nursing leadership, MSN to PhD pathways, and literally like the future of the nursing pipeline, pretty much. And for me personally, when I was doing my MSN to DNP program, I needed that loan money to survive. Mind you, I worked part-time, but I needed that extra funding from my loan to pay my tuition and to also like, to fund my life and to get through and survive school. Because if you've ever done that program, y'all already know that the weak won't survive. I was almost deemed weak, okay? Because I had like 2 semesters left of my DNP and I sure enough was this close from dropping out if it wasn't the sake of my mother begging me not to drop out. But I say all of that to say, like, how dare they? How dare they? Blood, sweat, and tears. Like this is a very prestigious, respectable like profession that people work extremely hard for. I literally dedicated a lot of my life to finish school. I literally started from CNA all the way to DNP. So majority of my life was always like doing some work, but always focusing in school so I can be done. You know what I mean? Just to look back and know that people who want to take the same route as me may choose not to take that route, or it's going to be harder to support their life and to pay their tuition. It's going to make grad school more expensive. Like it's not already expensive. It discourages future nurses to wanting to pursue an advanced degree, undermines our professional standing, which is very disrespectful. Definitely gonna worsen provider shortages, which is already and it sends the wrong message about the value of nursing. Like, why do y'all hate nurses so much? Like, I don't get it. So I just say all that. I'm just sending love to the nursing community, people who do have these advanced degrees. It's been a lot of ruckus lately and sharing opinions with colleagues of mine and friends of mine, and it's really disheartening and it gives out the wrong message. We do bring value, and we literally are the heart of the healthcare industry for a lot of things. Before you see a doctor, you're more than likely going to see a nurse practitioner. A lot of your your professors at school are going to be nurse practitioners. Most of them will have Doctor of Nursing practice degrees. So it's just sad to see how hard people work in this field and to get to this prestigious level just for it to be ripped away and for them to discourage the future of people who are in these programs or want to be in these programs. So like we can't let the government devalue our profession. Sending love out there, stay educated, stay aware, and just know that you matter. So I don't know, I just had to get that off real quick. They never gonna demote me and what I got because I worked hard for it, and I'll be damned.
They're all mandated reporters, by the way. They're all mandated reporters, by the way. All of the professions that is stated in this new Department of Education proposed rule that is set to take place effective July 2026, stating that all of these professions are no longer professional. Yeah, they're all professions that are mandated reporters. Every last one of them. Nurses, teachers, social workers, therapists, all mandated workers, every last one of them. What the Trump administration is doing is not just an attack on female-dominated fields, but on the actual victims themselves. Like, he's literally trying to make sure that he could further silence y'all. And this is all going to be a domino effect, okay? In the last video, I already talked about it with the nurses, okay? By limiting nurses' access to higher education, that is going to directly impact the patient themselves, okay? Not just that, it's also going to deter a lot of people from entering that field, or those who couldn't get into that field without the financial help, without the financial backing. So therefore, decreasing the overall number of nurses. Again, this is going to impact the patients. Same thing for this. By no longer considering these professions as professional, they no longer qualify for the federal backing that's needed to help so many people get into these fields. Therefore, the actual fields are going to shrink. They're going to decrease. And by decreasing these departments, you're also simultaneously decreasing the amount of mandated reporters that are available. So now the victims have less and less resources available to them. And the attackers, they're able to just live their lives unscathed. Considering the current allegations surrounding the president, considering his past of making statements of just, all you got to do is grab her by the, you understand? Even this year alone, he stated that domestic violence amongst married couples, wife and husband, shouldn't be considered domestic at all. It shouldn't be considered violence. And in fact, law enforcement should not be involved. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense because, again, not only are these female-dominated fields, meaning not only were the mandated reporters more likely female, females are the people that are more likely to take attacks or domestic violence or abuse seriously. Now it makes sense. And lastly, how dare an entire administration filled with incompetent workers, every last one of them in those appointed positions, incompetent. How dare they decide what is professional or what's not professional anymore? Are you kidding me? Just for the sheer fact that some of you people are in the role that you're in, the title of that role should be deemed unprofessional. It should be deemed unprofessional. Not only did you not get the education for it, you don't even have the experience. Most of you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And then it's these mothers that got the right to tell me that my profession is no longer a profession anymore. Fuck you. No, because please, listen to me, right? They're trying to tell me that an RN with a BSN, an RN BSN, is not a professional. But RFK Jr., the final knowledge giving the kids autism. I'm supposed to believe him? He's the professional? You have this old raggedy wench, Linda McMahon, who's supposed to be in the ring getting body slammed somewhere, over here telling people who's professional and who's not. The woman shouldn't even be the Secretary of Education, yet here she is. Here she is, incompetent and all, but she's the one telling people who's professional and who's not, in a profession that she did not earn, in a profession she has no experience in a profession that she's clearly effing up. Wow. And yes, you heard correctly. Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, WWE, Universe, wrestler. That's the person who's letting you know who's professional and who's not. And oh yeah, she was Trump appointed. Trump shouldn't even be president. He's not qualified. He wasn't qualified the first term. He's not qualified this time. How he made it this time is because of you guys and your racism. He is eons unqualified compared to his counterpart. You understand? Kamala. But y'all didn't want her to be there. Y'all said her laugh was too much. Or she was a woman. Or she was black. Or she was Indian. Too much, right? Y'all didn't want her. Instead, you let this man, unqualified as he is, and now he's over here telling other people who actually went to school. This man bought his degree. Other people actually went to school, and he's telling them that they're not professional. Oh, and it just so happens, not only are these woman-dominated fields, they're also mandated workers.
There is something extremely disturbing about all of the professions that have been stripped from professional degrees according to the new mandates, and nobody's talking about it, and it is extremely interesting that this has happened while we were all distracted by the Epstein files. Let's get into it. So it is Thursday, November 20th. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. And recently, over the last couple of days, we've heard of a number of degrees that are no longer going to be considered professional degrees, so can't get the financial aid through the federal government that they usually did. These things include masters and doctorates in education, CNAs, physician's assistants, nurse practitioners, social workers, counselors, OT, PT, all of these things. Not only are they women-dominated fields, you want to know the other thing they all have in common?
They're all our mandated reporters.
They're all mandated reporters. How interesting that they did this while we were all distracted by the Epstein files. If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck.
Might as well use it as a cover-up.
And that's something that nobody is talking about right now. Yes, they are all women-dominated fields. Yes, this is another attack on women that's been dressed up as something else. But these are all also mandated reporting careers that protect the children.
Being told that nursing, physical therapy, physician assistant, social work, public health, pathology, and so much more are not going to be considered a professional degree. Mind you, these are the ones that save human lives. And there's currently a nurse shortage, which doesn't make it any better. And those who are currently majoring and those pretty much have to go get their license, have to go through med school, pretty much spending money out of their pocket or getting student loans in order to pay, and then come out and say that this is not professional. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
So everybody's surprised that this current administration is trying to get rid of all the professional degrees, but am I surprised? Not really. I don't know how everyone else is surprised, because did y'all not read Project 2025? There's even a tracker for it. You can go look it up. Project 2025 is just about to be 50% complete, and we're not even a year into its term yet. They even have it nice and neat for you. It's separated by agencies all the way down to the objectives. If I were to go down to the Department of Education and look at all the objectives, the cut in funding is right here. And it's been there this whole time. You can go look at all the other things, because I even believe they're starting to privatize student loans. So all you teachers and anybody else in the medical field who voted Republican, y'all just made it harder for anybody else to go to graduate school to help you guys in the field. Y'all are already low staff. So in a couple of years, when you think to yourself like, dang, we are really, really low staff, I wonder why. You voted for this. And it wasn't like this was some type of closed book calculus 2 final exam or something like this. This was an open book, one question reading test. The only question you had to answer was, do you agree? And all you had to do was read. And you couldn't even do that. Now look at you, not even considered a professional anymore. It's a little too late for me to say go educate yourself, but go read the project. It is in fine print, so you're not surprised when the next thing happens. Just go read it for yourself. It is there. It's no more, oh, I thought they wasn't gonna do it. Well, they did, and they're 50% done with it. But let me know what you guys think. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
So Trump's government's coming for nurses now. Here's what's going on. He wants the Department of Education to declassify nursing as a professional degree. Advanced practice nursing, like our CRNAs, our nurse practitioners, our masters. Why does this matter? Because nursing is one of them careers that pull you up out of poverty. Gives us a great opportunity to provide for our families and for our life. Most homeowners I know, nurses. A lot of heads of households, nurses. A lot of minority women, nurses. So declassifying us as a professional practice, you thereby limit our access to funding. So you limit a lot of women and minorities women access to further climb the socioeconomic ladder. Yes, this is why it's such a big deal, gang. You think these little insidious things don't matter? They always matter, and there's always something that happens at the end of that affects people. And these type of things will affect patients, specifically patients. I'm one nurse trying to spread the word, so if you can, make as much of an uproar as you can.
And it is extremely interesting that this has happened while we were all distracted by the Epstein files.
So apparently the Department of Education decided that nursing, physical therapy, physician assistant, social work, public health, occupational therapy, speak language pathology, and more might not count as professional degrees anymore. Yes, the people who literally keep other humans alive might not be considered professionals on paper anymore. And here's what makes it even more wild. Now, these are fields where women make up the majority, often 70s, 80, even 90% of the workforce. So
I'm sure your timeline, like mine, has been filled with a lot of people just like this woman here, who are very upset with the acknowledgement of what is about to happen that's going to negatively impact the industry. Most importantly, women. Now, this isn't directed at this content creator because she's not a Trump supporter. But just like in this video, as she is stating, like many others do, when they're talking about the Department of Education, you need to make sure you're placing it exactly where it's supposed to be, which is on Donald Trump. When you're talking about the Department of Education, we're not talking about Linda McMahon. She's nobody. Right now, she's probably sitting in that chair doing that every single day. Just sitting there, you don't even know if she's comatose. She's basically a scarecrow in a field of evil, waiting for the phone ring to tell her exactly what to do. She's nothing more than a bookend, a placeholder for Donald Trump and Project 2025 to do exactly what they promised it was going to do. Donald Trump campaigned on what he was going to do with the Department of Education. We tried to warn everybody what that was going to mean to you. When he was doing away with DEI programs, we tried to educate everyone to understand that the biggest beneficiary of diversity were white women. We tried to explain what this was going to mean to you. Yes, it's a very important and needed industry that is predominantly women. This is what it looks like when they don't value women. But see, while we were upset about them doing away with things like minority scholarships and grants and reallocation of funds to HBCUs, you didn't realize what was coming down the pipe for you. But Donald Trump is so good in the sleight of hand to getting people to focus only on the marginalized community that they don't see what's about to happen to them next. It's only a matter of time before his policy eventually was going to end up at your doorstep. But the sad reality is white women voted for this. Yes, you voted for this. More than half of white women voted for Donald Trump in 2024, which means if you have 2 white women in Starbucks, one of them likely is a Trump supporter. So are you really mad at Donald Trump for keeping his promise and Project 2025 doing it exactly like it said it was going to do? Surely you don't think the plan is to show how this policy is going to negatively impact you to motivate the Republicans to have a reversal in their course that they're taking, right? So here you are, stuck out in the rain, complaining, upset, and feeling like your voice is not being heard, even though you're laying out exactly how the things that the government's doing is negatively going to affect you moving forward. Welcome to the Black experience.
So did you guys see all of the female-dominated professions that will no longer be considered professional starting in 2026 summertime? And yes, there is a list. So if you went to school to be a nurse practitioner or an advanced nurse practitioner or a physical therapist or a teacher, which is a really big one, there's a lot of other ones that are on the list that are very much so female-dominated spaces. They are saying that you are no longer a professional anymore. Your degree means nothing. All the people who have gone to school for these things and worked their butt off for 4 years or 6 years, it doesn't even matter anymore because they are changing the whole system. And this is just the start of Project 2025. I do find it weird that they're only choosing the ones that women dominate. I find that really strange because it seems like to me, they are trying to take a lot of steps backward. If you are a woman and you have gone to school for this or are going to school for this, I would definitely look into this and probably raise hell. This is not okay. But you know what's weird? They have taught us what to do and how to do it and to trust in the system for so long. And then when you actually grow up and you do it, they flip the whole system. That's just what they do. They're evil people.
Welcome back to the channel. I do hope and pray that from wherever you're watching this from, You are doing all right, and I do hope and pray that God has protected you, preserved you, and provided for you and your loved ones. Yes, as always, the conversation should begin in the comment section. Tell me, which degree do you have? Does it fall on the list of these? Because as of very soon, your degree will be unprofessional. A lot of these can quite spark a lot of emotions, especially if you know the cost of education and the burden of always, not really the burden, but the sacrifice that you must give to become that professional, that nurse, only for you to wake up and a lady that does not know the difference between, I don't know, there's something that she didn't know, literally she didn't know the difference of, is it one and AI? I don't know, I'm not sure. I have, correct me in the comment section. I think AI and something like that, related something. That's the lady. Some of these things are funny. You just laugh and wonder. But at the same time, you know what? I cannot get shocked because once you get people that don't have the qualifications, let's call it what it is, when you put people that are uneducated in the sectors or in the departments, in the offices they are in, and you direct them to do your dirty work, what do you expect? They do not reason with intellect, they reason with their own narrow minds. Simple-minded people that have never been anywhere, not seen the struggles that people go through, especially in the United States of America, where literally school is super very, very expensive, where people have to pay thousands and millions and 20,000 and 40, 60,000 of student loans just to make sure they obtain that. That is very much crazy. And again, that backs up his statements of always saying that he loves the poorly educated. So he does not mind when this gets dismantled. He himself has talked about how the United States education is really not the best. And we would be like, how does he want to make it better? By scrapping off these degrees? Like, and then on top of this, again, these are female dominated fields, which tells us that, again, Project 2025 and Project Esther to push women back into the houses so that you guys can give birth. That has always been the goal. Personally, part of the things that I am seeing here, you guys are going to not only have shortage in these very critical, most important fields, but you are also going to have brain drain on top of that, because those that are very much trained in these fields are going to get out of the country and seek opportunities elsewhere. Now they keep talking about the American dream. If people have to go out of the American dream and look for it elsewhere, I think that tells us everything that we want to know. It is so sentimental because I am a social worker, so that would mean that in America, my energy was wasted for nothing. My money was wasted for nothing. And if I am ever to come to America, I can never practice. Oh, maybe if I practice, I'm not gonna make as much as the men, because I mean, how dare you as a woman? But that's what you guys have looked at. Those are the reactions from the people, those that are concerned. And I wonder, where is the resistance? Is it gonna be there or not? Because you have seen the list. I want you guys to tell me, those of you that watch me, I have a lot of women that watch me on here. How many of you fall under this list? You are a CNA, you are a physiotherapist, a speech, whatever, like you are there. And very soon, you need this administration is annoying. Very much annoying. But you have to restrain yourself and laugh regardless. Yeah, hopefully you guys get someone that really understands how to run the system sometime soon. Yeah, because the fact that you have to go in your own pocket to fund your education, you can't even ask for loans. But then on top of that, if you took those loans and you are in this field and they are still, you still owe them, that money they have not forgiven you. You must pay, even if your program does not fall under the category of professionals or a profession anymore. God bless you all. And God help you. I'll see you guys later. May God watch over you and heal you and help you and watch over you and your loved ones and protect you. I love you. See you later. Bye.